Okay, in this video we're going to go through what you need to do to set up a really basic Java program and compile it and run it using the NetBeans IDE. So in the previous video I explained how to get NetBeans installed, and now as you can see I've got it running right here. NetBeans is what's called an IDE, which is an integrated development environment. And all that means is that it's a single program that is good at editing your code, or letting you edit your code, and then running your code. So you'll see an example of that in just a minute. But the very first thing we have to do is create a new project. So we can go to File, New Project, and the default settings on this window are okay. By default, that just means the ones that are already chosen for you when you open it up. So we'll click Next. We're going to call this Hello World. And all this other stuff is just fine. You don't have to change any of it. So we're going to click Finish. Okay, so after we went through that little wizard, NetBeans created what's called a project for us. And a project is a way of organizing everything you need to write a program. Right now it's overkill for what we're doing. All we need is one piece of source, and you can see that source code right here. So we're going to get rid of some of this other stuff so we don't get distracted by it right now. So close that and make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so this is a piece of Java source code right here that we're looking at. It is a really basic one. It doesn't do anything yet, but we can compile it and we can run it and we can verify that it doesn't do anything. So the button you're going to be hitting a lot, and the most important one in the program is right up here, this green triangle. This is going to compile and run your project. So we click Go, and it goes. So what just happened? What just happened then is NetBeans took this source code that admittedly doesn't do anything and turned it into a program and then ran it. And it didn't do anything because there's no real source code in there yet. So the very first thing we're going to do is take this thing out right here. This line is called a comment. It's got these two little characters right there. It doesn't do anything. It's just sort of a note to ourselves. And we're going to change that to this. And this right here is sort of the traditional first program everybody writes when they learn a new language. It's just going to print out the text, Hello World. So here it goes. We're going to run it. Okay, and something different happened this time. As you can see right here, it printed out the text, Hello World, which is what we told it to do right there. So for most of you, I'm sure you're used to running programs like NetBeans or a web browser, and so this concept of printing stuff out is a little bit foreign. You're going to be doing a lot of this when you first learn how to program, because writing a program with what's called a graphical user interface is much more complicated than writing one with the text interface, which is what we have right here. So when you first start programming, most of your programs are going to be limited to printing stuff out, and that sounds really boring, but it's actually enough to let you learn the basics, and then before you know it, you'll be writing stuff that's a lot more exciting and is drawing pictures and doing all kinds of stuff. But right now, to learn the core basic part of the library, it's gonna just be text. You gotta crawl before you can walk, before you can run, I suppose. So that is a Hello World project. And if you want to find out what all this stuff actually does, that's going to be in my next video, where we can learn about these things that are called methods and what on earth all that stuff is actually doing. So stay tuned and watch my next video.